Hello all, I'm Les Posen, clinical psychologist, flight-wise fear of flying and related anxieties. Welcome to a Melbourne springtime. In Australia, spring begins not on the equinox but on September 1. We do it by date, not by astronomical charts or whatever else. It's by date, September 1. It's been a little while since I last posted, and thank you to all the people who have been responding to some of these videos and contacting me personally by email, and it's been nice to make contact back with some of you. In the last video I created, and you can go back and look at that, I introduced you to this concept of separating out your sensations from your being scared. That is, you can have sensations and not have to be scared. And you can be scared and not be in danger. So one of the important things is not to necessarily find out how did these two things get stuck together. Sometimes we can discover that, a certain flight, a movie that you watched, a story that a friend told you when you were at a stage in life when it was most impressionable on you. And other times we can't find out when it is, and what we've got to do is work on what are the things that are now maintaining your fearful behaviors. And behaviors is the word I'm going to reinforce here, because rather than necessarily changing your emotions to that of being calm and accepting and whatever else, I tend to think let the emotions come along for the ride, but let them not be the starting point where you want to change those and everything else falls into place. I tend to think let's change behaviors. And what's the way to do that so that you can start to fly more successfully? And we also need to look at and ask ourselves, well, what does successfully look like? This is something I need you to have a bit of a think about. I need you, if you're going to do this successfully, to look at the flight envelope that exists for just about any flight you're going to take, short or long, domestic or international. The flight envelope might be beginning when you come up with the idea of I need to go somewhere. Either it's your choice or someone tells you for work you need to go there, or it's suggested to you by a partner or family member, come with us or come and meet us somewhere. And that might be when your consternation, shall we say, exists, and you may even start to think, how do I get out of this and not lose face, or how do I make a plausible excuse not to go? So it could start on the news of there's a flight impending. Then there are other elements along the way, such as making the booking, such as the time between the booking and the night before, when you begin to assemble the materials you'll be taking with you, your clothing, your documentation, your suitcases, wherever it might be. And then, of course, there's the next morning or afternoon where you're heading to the airport by train or car or Uber, wherever it might be. Then, of course, there are a number of other areas once you arrive at the airport, as in check-in. Maybe you'll be talking to a member of ground staff. You'll then make your way through security to the gate, possibly going through customs if it's an international flight, waiting at the gate or at the lounge, heading down the jetway or walking along the tarmac, boarding the plane. There are a number of very specific scenarios that you're going to have to encounter, plus the scenarios once you're on board and the plane is in motion. Okay? Each of those scenarios requires you to review 4 things that happen automatically. And we need to work on each of those 4 things. And each of you will have a slightly different prioritization of these 4. The 4 are your sensations, the emotions you feel, which is kind of a summation of the sensations. Those sensations could be what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you touch, what you taste in the external world. They can also be sensations that you experience in your inner world. What's your heart doing? What's your breathing doing? What's your tummy doing? All these are sensations which are picked up and made sense of, sensations made sense of with an immediate emotional experience. Joy, dread, empathy, gratitude, compassion, anger, fear, and so forth. Oh, I should also leave in disgust. Yeah, these are very primitive and primary emotions. We know they're primitive and primary because those emotions often exist in animals. Can we agree that our dogs and our other animals, like our domesticated animals, can experience joy and happiness? They can experience fear and dread and anxiety. They can experience these emotions. They probably can't experience feelings, which is sort of our mental assessment of these emotions. Okay, that's a very human trait. So what have we got so far? Sensations, emotions. We also have cognitions, that is the immediate thought that we have, and that might be the first thing that literally comes to mind, or it could be a thought about the sensations or feelings. And we now start to get circular because you have sensations, you have a thought about the sensations. The thought is of, oh my God, what do I do about this? And that drives the sensations up even further. This be the paradox of anxiety work. And of course, the fourth one, which is the one that is the most observable to anyone watching you, and these are your behaviors. Are you rigid in fear? Are you walking and pacing around nervously? Each part of that window, the flight window or the flight envelope that I mentioned to you before, getting news of a flight, arrival at the airport, walking to the plane, I need you to look at these four things and what they all have in common. The four things they produce an automatic reaction, automatic sensations, automatic emotions, automatic behaviors, automatic thoughts. Okay, they're automatic. You don't have to sort of think, oh, this one, this one, this one. It's not Mission Impossible where you're selecting who's going to be in the crew. These are quite automatic, and because they're quite automatic, they can sometimes feel both overwhelming and not controllable. And we've got to find ways to make them less automatic, replace the ones that are leading you astray with alternatives which are just as plausible, but they're useful to you. They will get you closer to your destination of wanting to do your flying well. Well might not mean, in fact, it will likely not mean not being scared or being calm. It's likely to mean I'm not calm, I'm highly aroused, but I'm going to do this anyway, but I'm going to do it better than I did before. And the more I keep doing it this new way, the more likely it is that the next time I'm going to be better at that and I won't be visited by these automatic sensations and thoughts, cognitions, behaviors, and emotions. And I'm going to get them under my control as much as I can control them, leaving some little gaps where I'm going to be surprised, and sometimes my feelings and thoughts and sensations and emotions will run away, and I'm going to have to try and grab them and recover from the upsettedness that I'm going to feel and come back onto plan and to plot what I'm going to do next. Okay, that's where the next little series of things we're going to do in this sort of little workshop that I'm running for you here. We're going to look at sensations and cognitions and behaviors and emotions and look at those things. By the way, I don't think it's wise to try and change emotions and feelings first. They are least under our ability to control and to thwart and to change. We might be able to control and to thwart some of the high levels of arousal and bring that down a little bit. That might result in an improvement in the quality of our emotions and thoughts in a way that we want to go, but don't count on it. we're going to have to put some work into that, and hopefully an improvement of emotions and feelings will come along, sort of taken in the tide or the wake of these other things changing. Don't try and change them first, would be my guidance to you. Some people go the other direction. They'll say, yeah, I'll help you change your emotions and feelings. I don't think personally that that's a wise move. I'd much rather work with changing cognitions, reinterpreting sensations, and certainly altering behaviors, and let the other stuff catch up with it. So that's the plan going forward. I'll release a new video over the weekend if I can, and we're going to work on some of these things very directly. Perhaps we'll start with sensations. So I hope this is useful to you. Stay tuned. If you need to subscribe so you don't miss out on something, by all means do that. And I'll catch you very soon. Bye for now.